really don't think Kristaps is going to be ready by the beginning of the season. And he might not even play at all this year, which I'm okay with because honestly, listen, this is about asset. You have to build with assets. We traded those picks so long ago, and that horrible Carmelo Anthony trade and I won't say it's horrible in the sense of it didn't work out. So I'll call it
what?
The trade didn't work out in the sense of
delivering. You mean Carmelo to the Thunder?
Well, Carmelo.
You're not talking about acquiring Carmelo, are you?
I'm talking about acquiring Carmelo.
No, you are not, Earl.
It pillaged the team.
No, you are not, Earl.
It pillaged the team and did not let him build assets around him to let him be successful. So yes, I'm talking about that.
Oh, well, listen, we lost some pieces. But look at the pieces we were able to get around him because we had him, okay? The defensive player of the year, Chandler.
Okay, who's no longer on the team.
Yeah, I know, but this was for the time. You're talking about 8 years ago.
Okay, but the whole point was like when we had a successful situation, we removed the coach and took it down because apparently Carmelo didn't agree with Mike Woodson. But we look at Mike Woodson, and Mike Woodson had a 50-something plus. We won like what 50 games that season.
It was 54 games, and the thing is, I mean, you would rather have. I mean, you're not serious. You're gonna really compare Carmelo to guys like Wilson Chandler and Danilo Gallinari and Timothy Mozgov and Raymond Felton. You're not serious. Melo meant the possibility of a championship.
So
okay?
Did he though? So let me tell you this: where along in his playoff history did he suggest that is the case? Besides that, he was a prolific scorer.
Well, remember he went to the conference finals against the Lakers in Denver. They had AI, they had Kenyon Martin,
and that was it, right?
They had Billups,
okay,
and they had J.R. Smith. Which also Melo. I mean, that's a good team. Listen, they went to the conference finals, which they were able, but a lot of people forget about that. So I don't blame you for forgetting about that. That's a lot of people forget that because all they do is bash Melo, bash.
Look, I didn't forget that. I'm talking about what okay, so that was the one chance, but he wasn't necessarily the leader of that team, like you said. The player that you listed last is probably the most important of that.
You're right.
Bill Lux. It was Bill Lux.
Absolutely, you're right. He was the enforcer.
That's right.
And AI went off that year. He went off because he was pissed that the Sixers traded him. I remember one game he had 51 points, and then he followed it up by like a 40-something point game. AI went off. Okay,
he's one of my favorite players of all time, man. I love him.
AI is just unbelievable. And the point of the matter is that was another player. We got J.R. Smith because of Melo. Mm-hmm. Remember that. You know what I'm saying? So Melo is anybody who says, and these dumb fans out here that say that Melo on the Knicks was just some complete failure or whatnot, they don't know what they're talking about.
It wasn't a failure. What happened was that they traded away too many assets in order to build substantially around him. And I'll tell you what.
But then they got assets back.
You mentioned JR. JR wasn't the same player that he was when he was on the Cavs because he was partying. He was from the area. He had too much of his homies around him. It was a bad situation. He wasn't at
JR performed better on the Knicks than the Cavs.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Look at those numbers. First of all, he averaged 20. He averaged it was either 18 or 21 points a game that year when he was the sixth man of the year. Or else shaking his head over there. No. He had 3 solid years with the Knicks. You don't know what you're talking about. I totally disagree with you. They shackled his game in Cleveland, and he stopped driving in Cleveland. He stopped getting to the line in Cleveland. LeBron handled the ball and just wanted him to stay behind the arc and shoot threes, and that's why his numbers are so bad in Cleveland.